Dr. Tedros gave us the good news about the virus epidemic having peaked and plateauing in China, and then moved on to the very concerning news, as you mentioned in your introduction, of a spike in infections in Italy, Iran, and South Korea, which he described as very concerning. When asked whether we were heading for a pandemic, he said it's a possibility, but we're not there yet, given the spread and severity of the disease. But he stressed that member states should be preparing for the worst. He mentioned that this virus does not respect borders, and he repeated, as he has for the last few weeks, to prepare for the worst. In other words, countries at the national level to do all they can for their citizens. So there is a fine line here, because his chief of emergencies, Mike Ryan, said this could go out into a full-blown pandemic, or it might not and just plateau out. So no one knows yet, but they're cautioning that the member states around the world of the World Health Organization should be prepared for the worst.
John, if we are looking down the barrel of a potential pandemic, does this mean that the World Health Organization, as a result, obtains greater powers?
Not necessarily. The situation when it is a full-blown pandemic, then the ball moves into the member states. They have protocols, the so-called pandemic preparedness blueprints that they've been practicing for many years, which they then bring into force. That means better coordination of health facilities, medical supplies, and then there's the various pandemic measures like crowd controls, closing of schools, limitations of transportation systems, etc. We've seen this in other pandemics in the past. So it's basically the member states that have to really take on shoulder more of the responsibility, and that's why the WHO has been pleading and warning member states to be prepared if this virus turns out into a pandemic, which is still a possibility.
John Zaracostas,